resources are all the things that we require to live. The air we breathe, the water we drink, the food we eat, and the energy we use to run just about everything can all be found in our environment. But what happens if you live somewhere that doesn't have something you need? And what if those resources run out? Let's find out together in this episode all about natural resources. Natural resources are substances or materials such as minerals, plants, animals, water, and fertile soil that occur in nature and can be used by humans. Look around the room that you're sitting in. Each item was constructed and developed using natural resources. Even the energy that was used to build and create those items. Take my bicycle, for example. Someone didn't just find bicycles growing on a tree in nature. Could you imagine bicycles falling from trees once they're ripe? That's terrifying. This bicycle had to be constructed using many different materials. The frame is made of steel. Steel is made from iron ore, a resource that occurs in nature. The tires are made of a combination of natural and synthetic rubber. Natural rubber is actually obtained from trees. I know. That is weird. The rubber sap, also known as latex, is collected in cups attached to the trunk of the rubber tree. That is actually its name. And synthetic rubber is made of chemicals taken from crude oil or coal. But what if where I live doesn't have rubber trees or mines filled with iron ore? Natural resources are not evenly distributed on Earth, so we have to transport, share, trade, or buy resources from other places to have everything that we want or need. If you take a look at this map, you will see that humans tend to live together in areas of abundant or many resources. One of the main resources that drives the population is water. These areas have access to water, but they might not have the mineral resources they need or the food resources, so those need to be brought in. Natural resources can be broken down into two categories: renewable resources and non-renewable resources. A renewable resource can be replenished to replace the portion used, either through natural reproduction or other recurring processes in less than a lifetime. Water is a great example. Through the water cycle, water continuously gets recycled through the atmosphere, biosphere, and hydrosphere. Fish are also a renewable resource. Even though I will eventually catch and take a fish out of this lake as a food resource, there are plenty left to reproduce, adding more fish to the lake ecosystem. The rubber trees that we mentioned earlier are also a renewable resource. The trees will continue to produce latex sap that can be harvested. Waiting for these renewable resources to naturally cycle does take time, but they happen regularly enough to ensure that these resources get replenished over time. As long as we use renewable resources wisely, they will continue to provide for us. But if we overfish this lake, there won't be any left to reproduce. And if rubber trees aren't planted to replace dead or dying trees, then we might run out. Non-renewable resources are resources that do not come back within our lifetime. Metals, like the iron ore in my bicycle, are non-renewable resources. Ore is formed through the rock cycle, a process that can take thousands to millions of years. So once it's consumed, it's gone for us. But we can recycle it, which is a topic for another episode. Coal, oil, and natural gas are the three main non-renewable resources that us humans are consuming. We are using these most for energy, and if we use them all up, they're not coming back, at least not in our lifetime. Coal, oil, and natural gas are referred to as fossil fuels. Fossil fuels are the stored chemical energy of ancient fossilized organisms that have been exposed to millions of years of heat and pressure. When fossil fuels are burnt, the chemical energy is released as thermal energy that we use to generate electricity and fuel machines, planes, ships, and other vehicles. Not only will these fossil fuels eventually run out, but burning fossil fuels also creates a lot of pollution, which is bad for the environment. As we burn fossil fuels, we are increasing greenhouse gases in the atmosphere that will increase Earth's temperature. If you're still here liking this video, let us know, and hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. The good news is that energy can be produced by using renewable resources too. The energy from the sun, wind, the flow of water, and even heat from inside the earth can all be used to produce electricity using things like solar panels, wind turbines, and hydropower technology. These renewable resources are more sustainable than burning fossil fuels. The energy from the sun heats our planet and provides energy to every ecosystem on Earth through our photosynthesizing friends. Energy from the sun is a renewable resource because it's consistently radiating toward Earth. In fact, scientists estimate the amount of sunlight that the Earth receives in just 1 year is twice the total amount of energy that will ever be extracted using fossil fuels. The plant friends have it figured out, but alas, we cannot photosynthesize. So we have to find other efficient ways to harness that energy. The technology we are currently using is called the photovoltaic cell. Photovoltaic collectors directly transform radiant energy from the sun into electrical energy. Photovoltaic is kind of hard to say, so I'm super glad that we call them solar panels once many cells are arranged together. The biggest advantage to solar panels is that they can be deployed pretty much anywhere. Solar panels can simply be installed on smaller scales next to areas consuming that energy, rather than having to transmit power across long distances. I even use this small solar panel to charge some of my equipment when we're filming outside. As long as the sun is heating our planet, we will have another important renewable resource: wind. Wind is caused by differences in temperature in the atmosphere and is constantly being generated. Wind turbines convert kinetic energy into rotational energy, then to electricity. These wind turbines use blades to collect the wind's kinetic energy. Wind travels faster over the curved surface, creating a low-pressure pocket above the blade that forces it upwards, creating lift, very similar to airplane wings. This force causes the blades to turn. These blades are connected to a drive shaft that turns an electric generator, which generates electricity. Even with aerodynamic blades, a wind turbine can only capture wind in a windy environment, so this limits where they can be placed. Wind speeds typically increase the higher into the atmosphere you travel, so most turbines are over 300 feet tall. The biggest issue with wind turbines is wind energy's intermittent availability. Sometimes it's windy, sometimes it's not. This inconsistency makes it difficult to integrate this type of energy into an electrical grid. Hydropower is another renewable energy resource. This hydroelectric dam was built to create a reservoir of water. All of this is built up water from the Mountain Fork River, which continues to flow that direction on the other side of the dam. A valve inside the dam is open, allowing water to fall through the generator's turbines at the bottom of the dam, which turn the water's kinetic energy into power. This intake valve opens or shuts to control the water flow, managing the production of energy to meet the changing demands of the electrical grid. Unfortunately, flooding an area with water isn't without consequences. Changing the environment so quickly and disrupting the natural flow of water downstream can have detrimental consequences for the local ecology. Other renewable energy resources are geothermal energy and biomass. Geothermal energy comes from steam and hot water accessed by drilling into the earth. The steam is then used to spin turbines connected to a generator, which then generates electricity. But you can't just put a geothermal power plant anywhere you want to. And it takes a lot of time and money to drill and explore for underground conditions that are exactly right. Biomass uses the stored chemical energy of living things. Wood and waste are the most common sources of biomass material. Burning biomass creates thermal energy, which is then converted into electricity. If you've ever made a fire for cooking or staying warm on a camping trip, you've used biomass energy. Resources are all around us, but let's make sure to use them responsibly so we can have them around for a long time. And if you want to learn more science, you can check out this video next. Wind. It's a little windy right now. Okay.